Look who's here now. We're enjoying all of this, aren't we, Bret? This is Bret Baier, by the way.
Yeah.
Why won't Democrats accept the reality that voters are not happy with Biden?
Listen, they're spinning these poll numbers, but the poll numbers, if you look at the recent polls, are heinous.
Yes, they are.
The New York Siena poll is just really bad.
Yep.
The internals are bad. The people, 73% say he's too old to be president. The Hispanic numbers have shifted to the former president. The black population has shifted a number of points, enough to make a big difference in the general election. If these numbers held, former President Trump, as the nominee, would win exponentially in the swing states. Yeah. And that's what Democrats are afraid of, and they're trying to spin it, but people look at what they see day to day with the president, and, it's your lying eyes.
After the New York Times poll was published, it was on Saturday morning. I remember at 7 o'clock in the morning, it appeared on my phone. I thought, that is a disaster. Surely the Democrats are in a five-alarm fire situation to figure out how they can not get rid of the president, but exchange him for somebody else.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do, isn't it?
And logistically, that's really tough.
Yeah.
It's just tough to see how the shoes fall, where you could somehow get around Vice President Kamala Harris. Her poll numbers, by the way, are worse than President Biden, and that's part of the issue here.
Yeah. Now, Congressman Jamie Raskin, he says he's working on legislation that would disqualify Trump from the ballot. That smacks to me of desperation after the Supreme Court said, no, he's in. 9-0,
they said.
9-0.
It's unanimous. So, yes, look, trying to do this legislatively is what the court said. It has to be done through Congress. But the fact that they think that somehow they're going to get support for that after the Supreme Court said you can't take somebody off the ballot. Meanwhile, the special counsel who was appointed to handle all of this January 6th has not charged the former president, with insurrection or seditious conspiracy. He's not charged or convicted, and yet this is an effort.
Today, Super Tuesday, at least, 7 of the 15 states will have a line for uncommitted on the Democrat primary. If the uncommitted vote comes in anywhere near the 13% that it was in Michigan, then Biden has a huge problem.
Yeah, I think Michigan was an anomaly as far as that number because of the Arab population there, and they were really motivated to express themselves. There'll be some, definitely, but I think that the president probably will roll here. The question is, what kind of support does he see as you get closer and closer to the convention? Listen, concern about his age is not going to get better. It's not suddenly like it's going to turn around.
Right.
It only goes one way.
It's very true. Maureen Dowd in the New York Times suggested that the way to do it is for Biden to release his Democrats, delegates at the convention, and let them choose somebody else. I can see that happening.
Yeah, and Democrats have a lot more leeway when it comes to that. Republicans are locked in, their delegates. A lot of things can happen, and it's a Chicago convention for Democrats. 1968 was quite a convention.
Oh, I remember it well. I was at college in London at the time. We had all these Americans coming back from the riots in Chicago, triumphant. Look what we did. We destroyed the presidency. Any comment on Michelle Obama will not be running this year?
I've got a lot of money that she's not going to run. And I've had a lot of people saying that her name comes up, but I've talked to people very close to the Obamas who are convinced that there's no way.
Well, she's not. NBC says she's decided not to run.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, you, along with Martha McCallum, are going to be hosting Fox's Super Tuesday coverage tonight. Can you just tell me when we might get the first results?
Oh, we should, right when the polls close at 7 o'clock, some of these states, because going in, once we get some of the raw vote total, it'll show us that it's probably going to be the former president's night.
You work hard, but you really love this.
I do love it. It's very fun.
It's great to have you on the show.
Yeah,
Bret Baier will be watching tonight. Thanks you,
a lot.
sir.